Has it ever been this bad for Leaf fans, Lepore?
In a way, I don't think it has. Like, a season I always point to is the season after the Kessel deal, because we traded away our first round pick and they had a terrible start to the season. I think they started 0-7. So here we were watching this team be total trash, and the season was over in 2-3 weeks because we were so bad. And it wasn't even as if we could get excited that we're going to draft high because we had traded away our first round pick. Like, that was a bad season as a fan. It sucked. And there wasn't a whole lot even to, like, okay, we're bad, but it looks like we're building for the future. No, like, we signed guys like Beauchemin and Komisarek, and that's when I think that was Phaneuf's first full real season. And like I said, adding Kessel. So that was kind of like, I'm not going to say like a go for it year, but the plan was to be competitive. Like that was the plan, and it failed. But like, that was a bad one. But if someone said to me, this is the worst time to be a Leaf fan, I wouldn't disagree with them, because like the worst time to be a fan is when there's expectation and it doesn't happen. Like I've said before, how like right now it's not fun. The most fun I've had as a Leaf fan was Matthew's rookie year, because there wasn't expectations, nothing to lose. If we're bad, we pick high again. If we're good, we're good. That team was exciting, scoring goals. You went into the playoffs with no pressure. You just sat back and watched them play against a President's Trophy winning team and push them to 6 games. It was great. But right now, here we are a few years later, and it's because of all the things we talked about. Like the signing of Babs, like this is moving forward, even though it didn't turn out. Like Tavares, like all these kids working out, regular season success, like we've seen it, and we just keep getting punched in the throat. And it's bad. I guess the higher the high is like equals like the lower the low. And I think that's why the answer is probably yes. Because if you're low, you're just low. Like people talk about like, oh, you know, the Harold Ballard years and they were selling all the stars. Yeah, but like if you suck, you're not getting excited. If you're never excited, it's not tough to deal with. Where the Leafs kill us is that they give us reason to be excited. And so, yeah. So if this is the hardest time to be a Leafs fan, if someone told me it was, I don't know if I disagree with them, or it's at least in the conversation. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's right up there for me as well. And you mentioned, you know, the Phil Kessel years and the trade for Kessel, the 2 first-round picks that ended up turning into Tyler Seguin and Dougie Hamilton.
Woo.
And that was frustrating, right? Because when Brian Burke was making all those moves, and you mentioned Komisarek and guys like that, and, you know, the Phaneuf deal, like a lot of Leaf fans thought, all right, like
we're a team.
We're a good team now. Like we're not like a Stanley Cup contender, but we're a competitive team. Like, let's go and make the playoffs. Because at that point, before Kessel had come in, the Leafs missed the playoffs how many years in a row? 1, 2, 3. It was 4 years in a row that they had missed the playoffs. And then Kessel comes in, and you're thinking, okay, 30, 40 goal scorer, one of the best snipers in the league, you know, former 5th overall pick. Like, let's go. Like, even though we gave up 2 first-round picks, you said, you know what? This is a star player, and it's okay to give up this draft capital. Like, looking back, like, it wasn't okay to give up that draft capital.
Because at the time, I think that was the year we picked Kadri, and Kadri would have been like 6th or 7th overall. So then the whole
went like 7th.
Yeah, so the whole mindset is like, well, now we added Phaneuf, we have Kessel. Well, we shouldn't finish 7th lowest. So I guess that was his mindset, thinking, well, I'm trading away 2 mid-round first picks or later first round picks for Phil Kessel. So in his mind, he probably thought it was going to be a great deal. And before you know it, the team's 0-7 and he regrets the deal.
Yeah, that was a train wreck. Like the process behind what Brian Burke was doing at that point, like you could see how it sort of made sense. How it's like you said, Lepore, like, okay, we're not going to be this bad that the picks we're giving up are these
top 5
first round picks, right? Like
people forget that he added a second in there as well.
Yeah, that's right. 2 first-round picks and a second.
2 first and a second.
So, you know, you figured the Leafs aren't going to be this bad, that these first-round picks are going to kill them. Obviously, I mean, it ended up being a disaster with Seguin and Hamilton coming out of that. But yeah, like I think about that team. I mean, I think about the collapse against the Boston Bruins in 2013. But we've talked about this before, how that was almost a blessing in disguise because that Leaf team wasn't that good. And I know how I know we've also talked about how they would have played the Rangers in the next round, and it was actually a pretty good spot, and maybe they could have found their way to the conference finals. But looking back at that Leaf team, it just wasn't that good. I mean, when you have like Tyler Bozak as your number one center and Dion Phaneuf as your number one defenseman,
like Joffrey Lupul was our big goal scorer.
Yeah, like let's
Couldn't
settle
even
down,
skate.
everybody,
Yeah,
right? Like
pump
when
the
you
brakes.
actually take a step back and put that era in perspective.
You know what's funny, Bruno? Even if you put that team, like now that you're listing guys, versus that Bruins team.
Yeah, like
how on earth?
and,
Yeah, how on
and
earth did that go
Marchand
7?
and
Oh my
Chara
god!
and Tuukka Rask.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like good night Leafs. So yeah, like I don't know what the Bruins like odds were heading into that series, but they had to have been like substantial favorites against Toronto.
Yeah,
in that 2013 series. But yeah, so I mean, I think about those Phil Kessel years, and I probably have that maybe a little bit ahead of what's going on right now.
Oh, you do put that? Okay.
Like it's specifically like that the beginning of the Kessel era when the Leafs traded away those 2 first-round picks. I have that a little bit ahead of what's happening now, just because this team is still good.
Yeah, we have stuff. Yeah,
let's all I think at the end of the day, we have to all sort of like simmer down a little bit, because this is still a good hockey team. This is still a team that I think everyone would agree is probably going to make the playoffs next season. I know it's a difficult division. You're going to have Tampa and Florida and Boston and this Montreal team. Who the hell knows how good they're going to be next season? But the division is going to be difficult, but I think most people are still expecting the Leafs to be a playoff team. So that's why I kind of take a deep breath and I say, okay, you know what? Let's all chill out, because this is still a good team. The core is still in place. Yes, do tough decisions need to be made when it comes to Zach Hyman, when it comes to potentially making a big trade. But this team is still built to win in the immediate future. The window is still open. They need to continue to make smart, optimal decisions to surround this core with the right pieces to make a run. But the core is in place, and this is a team that is still good enough. I really think they're still good enough if they make the right moves. Should I say Stanley Cup?
To compete
for the Stanley Cup, to be a Stanley Cup contender, which we thought they were this season.
Well, yeah.
So that's how I feel about that, Lepore.
Or that's what you're telling your therapist, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's more accurate.
Yeah.
But
we should have Colin's Toronto Maple Leafs therapy sessions. That'd be a segment on the show.